Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Compassion Sunday. This is really exciting for me because I get to wear my tennis shoes to church. No, it's really exciting just to see the church going out into the world and being the hands and feet of Christ. So welcome to Wesley's Compassion Sunday, and welcome those who are joining us online. This is probably going to be a 30, 40-minute service, so it'll be nice. And we'll get out there and want to remind you that after all the work is done, to please come back to Wesley and have lunch with us. I think the lunch is going to start at 12? 11:30. Lunch is served, and they're hard at work cooking it right now for you all. Also to remind you that next week is Nikkei Matsuri. And so that's going to be happening in Japantown. And mainly we want to remind you that there's going to be a fun run that'll be affecting the Japantown area. There'll be a lot of street closures. Probably the best way to get here is to come up Empire and then come into the church. Also want to point out that there's been a lot of work happening around the church, and a lot of the stuff is getting done. And we want to thank all of the BOT members and various people who have been working on that. Poke your head into the fireside room. It's brand new. There's new floors, new cabinets, new lighting, new paint, new closet doors. It looks wonderful. Also, when you go into the fellowship hall, you'll notice that on that wall, the storefront doors have been installed finally. And it's going to make a big difference in the ambiance of the whole fellowship hall. Last announcement is, let's not let our compassion remain here on Sunday. Let's spread it out through the whole week. So if you're feeling like you want to go out and continue to serve the community, please show up on Tuesdays from 9 to 11:30. That's when our food distribution happens. And we need more people because we've gotten a lot more food and we're serving a lot more people. On Fridays, that's when the food gets dropped off here, and there is so much food, we need more help. And if you could show up from 10 to 11:30 on Fridays, back by the SoCo building bays. All right, so welcome to our Compassion Sunday. We're going to start with a song. They'll know we are Christians by our love. So let's please stand for this song.
And morning. Please be seated. My name is Mary Liano, and I co-chair the Compassion Ministry alongside Misao Kustuda. Thank you for being here on Compassion Sunday. Our church leads by the Japanese words, Aishin, Airin, which translates to love God, love one another. This is an amazing day where we can come together as a church to share God's love and our love to the people who are in need in our community. The Compassion Ministry was founded approximately 8 years ago with the following goals: to reconnect with people in the community at Japantown and San Jose area, to rebuild the community together through love and justice, to rejoice with our neighbors by sharing what we have to offer. The Compassion Ministry's focus is to share God's love to those that are in need. Compassion Ministries include the Unhoused Ministry, our cooking teams, the after-school homework assistant and mentoring program at Grant Elementary School, and our Tuesday food distribution. Compassion's Unhoused Ministry delivers food to St. James Park almost every Tuesday. Each bag of food has items that are easy to eat, like cans with pull tops, nutritional snacks, water, juice, plasticware, etc. The purpose is not only to provide food to our friends, but to build relationships with them, pray with them, and to share God's love. On the second and fourth Wednesday, the Compassion cooking teams prepare delicious meals for Casa de Clara, a place for women and children that can stay while they're in transition. Each delicious meal is prepared with love by our cooking teams. The Compassion Ministry has a special relationship with Grant Elementary School. We have helped at their fall festivals, their spring festivals, hosted Christmas parties at the school, helped with their Los Dichos reading program, where our volunteers read a book to a classroom. We also collect school supplies for the classrooms every year. We have provided many families with gift cards for food at Thanksgiving and Christmas. In addition, at Christmas, we provided gift cards for many students. We also purchased gift cards for uniforms for many students at Grant. For the after-school homework assistants, our volunteers meet once a week with their assigned student to help prepare homework and help with their daily reading assignment. We currently have 6 volunteers and 6 students. Volunteers share their love by being a consistent support for their students. Some volunteers have remained in contact with their students even after their students graduated. I'm very blessed to be one of them. The 2 slides that you saw here were actually some of the original Grant tutors. Our first food distribution was on Tuesday, May 12, 2020. The church was closed because of the pandemic, so we used the fellowship hall to store our food and sort the donations we collected. We distributed food from the 6th Street parking lot, but we have grown. We are now located in the Compassion Workshop, formerly known as the Soko Plumbing Building. We serve our walk-in farmers market style. The food is set out and people can point to the items they choose, and a volunteer will package their items. Food distribution volunteers also deliver food to Grant Elementary School for families to pick up. Volunteers also make bags for distribution at St. James Park, and almost every week prepare a meal for our friends at the park. We are very excited to have become partners with Second Harvest Food Bank. Every Friday, we receive a shipment of produce and other items that we order online. The donations from Second Harvest provide families with milk, eggs, and meat almost every week. Our first food distribution with the donations from Second Harvest was on March 23rd, 2023. Our refrigerator and freezer are full now every week. We are hoping to be able to purchase another refrigerator and possibly another freezer soon. We are starting to see an increase in clients since our Second Harvest partnership. In 2023, we have served individuals and families from the Compassion Workshop 675 times and prepared bags of food for at least 630 unhoused friends. Included in those 675 individuals and families are 289 times that we have served Grant families, and the need is growing. Since the start of Compassion's Tuesday food distribution, individuals, families, and the unhoused have been served 16,470 times. Aishin, Irene, love God, love one another. The Compassion Ministry's focus is to share God's love to everyone, especially those in need. We are extremely grateful for all those who have shared their time, talents, and donations to make all these ministries possible. We hope to continue to grow our ministries and share God's love to as many people in need as possible. Thank you.
Today's reading is from 1 John chapter 4, verses 7 through 11. Beloved, let us love one another, because love is from God. Everyone who loves is born of God and knows God. Whoever does not love does not know God, for God is love. God's love was revealed among us in this way. God sent his only Son into the world so that we might live through him. And this is love. Not that we loved God, but that he loved us and sent his Son to be the atoning sacrifice for our sins. Beloved, since God loved us so much, we also ought to love one another. 本日の聖書道録はヨハネの手紙4章7節から11節です。拝読いたします。愛する者たち、互いに愛し合いましょう。愛は神から出るもので、愛する者は皆神から生まれ、神を知っているからです。愛することのない者は神は知りません。神は愛だからです。神は一人子を世にお使わしになりました。その方によって私たちが生きるようになるためです。ここに神の愛が私たちのうちに示されました。私たちが神を愛したのではなく、神が私たちを愛して私たちの罪を償う生贄として御子をお使わしになりました。ここに愛があります。愛する者たち、神がこのように私たちを愛されたのですから、私たちも互いに愛し合うべきです。以上です。
Thank you, Mary and George, for helping to lead this service. And we regularly read in both English and in Japanese to celebrate the fact that we have two cultures here as part of this church. But today we also celebrate people who are bilingual, like George, and are equally working in both of those cultures. And that's a part of who we are as well. And I'm going to do Reverend John one better, because not only am I wearing tennis shoes, but blue jeans to church. So, you know, all of your complaints can be sent to the SBRC, but it's just following instructions. We're here to work. We're here to serve. Who, what, where, when, why. If you're a journalist, that sounds pretty familiar. Or like me, I was a journalism student way back at Port Townsend Junior High. And Mrs. Reynolds was my teacher. And if we were in the journalism class, you were also a reporter for the school newspaper. And we learned the 5 W's: who, what, where, when, and why. I still use those 5 W's every time I write an article for the Good News, our church newsletter. Or when we are making an announcement or working with Hikaru to make the announcement slides, we want to make sure we've got the who, what, where, when, and why. Sometimes how, but that doesn't start with W, so it doesn't work as well. But if you can answer those questions, you have all the information you need, right? It's pretty comprehensive. For me, however, the first question, who, is the most important. For me, who you are determines everything else. Who you are determines what you do, when you do it, where you do it. And the who, if you really answer that question well, it answers your why, your purpose. As Abbott and Costello famously said, who's on first? Very important. All right. Our church motto, as Mary so eloquently reminded us, Aishin Irene, love God, love others. That's who we are at Wesley. We are people who love God and love others. And the reason we can love others is in today's scripture. We love because God first loved us. When you experience love, you can love in return. Some people mistakenly think that when you do good works, you're doing that to earn God's approval. But that's not it. Rather, we do good works in response to everything God has done. It's an important distinction. The love comes first, and then the response. But guess what? You folks know that. That's why you're here. That's why you're part of this church. Wesley is a place that is already so full of love and compassion. People loving in response to what God has done for us. Sometimes the message on Sunday morning is to tell you to stop doing something or to start doing something else. But today my message to you is keep it up. Keep doing what you're doing, because that's who we are, and that's what's happening here at Wesley. And Compassion Sunday is just another opportunity. It's not the opportunity, it's just one of many opportunities to put all of that into action. Now, it may seem more spiritual to sing a hymn or to pray, but with the right perspective, it is just as spiritual to pull weeds in a garden, or work in somebody's backyard, or to put an encouraging message on a poster, or to sort books, or give out food in a park, or one of the many, many projects that we have out for you today. And church is more than what happens in this room on Sunday mornings. A lot more. Our faith community is more than just the people you see around you. The people sitting in the pews, singing these songs, praying together. Wesley, as a concept, as the church, extends to all the people that are in our neighborhood, all the people we serve, all the people we come alongside, all the people that are going to be teaming in the streets next week for Nikkei Matsuri. It's the people who receive food on Tuesdays, as well as the people giving it out to them. It's the people gathering in homes or in backyards, as it was yesterday at Eitan and Clarissa's house, for our neighborhood groups. And through your presence, it's everywhere you go in your life, your workplace, your neighborhood, your friends, your family. That's the church. That's us being the people of God. For me, umpiring a Little League baseball game on a Thursday or a Saturday is just as holy as reading the Bible in a small group or a Bible study. For some, it might be walking your dog in the park, visiting with the people there, playing a round of golf with your foursome, hiking in the hills. I truly believe that God can make all these things sacred, even golf. So that's the message of today, and it's a short one on purpose. Who we are is a group of people who are loved by God and have formed a community to share that love with others. And we do it in many ways. Today isn't just a chance to serve, but it is a celebration of serving. A celebration of Wesley's Compassion Ministries. It's a celebration of the relationships we have with places like Grant School, Casa de Clara, Taylor Street Farm, and St. James Park and Japantown. We are Wesley United Methodist Church. That's our who. And the what is the acts of compassion that we do. The when is today. The where is here. And why? Love. That's why. By the way, as part of making our service short so we can get right out there and be serving, we're going to collect the offering a little bit differently. I'm going to ask that a couple of our ushers come up and get a couple of plates, and then they're going to stand at the back. So Derek, come on up and just grab a couple of these. On your way out, you can give your gifts. And Marcia, by the way, these two people work so hard making our worship service. And big thanks to them. And they're very humble. I had to trick them to get them to come up to the front. So just on the way out, and it's not yet, because we got a couple more things to do. So you don't have to stand there quite yet, but just to let you know. And if you want to give a special gift in support of Compassion Ministries, you can do that. Put it in an envelope and write Compassion on it, or in the memo portion of a check, you can write Compassion. Compassion Ministries is a designated fund at this church. It doesn't get money from our regular budget, so we are dependent on gifts that people can give, and we appreciate that. And as Mary talked about, our ministry is growing, and sometimes growth takes things like bigger refrigerators and renting trucks and things like that. And we're excited about all of that. I also want to mention that our wonderful missions committee does a lot to raise money for things like Compassion and other ministries. And so every time you play golf in the Wesley golf tournament, see, I make golf sacred, we're helping to support missions. Or in the luau that we're going to be having. All of those things go together to be a part of this amazing ministry. We're going to stand up and sing Jesu, Jesu. And listen as Shane put her. So let's stand and sing this song. Jesu, Jesu. Please be seated unless you're one of our project leaders, and then the project leaders come on up and let's make a line across the front because we're going to introduce our projects to all of you. I'm going to ask that each of these project leaders just say a word or two about what they're going to be doing and where they're going to be. We have an information table out in the patio that has a map where the projects are here at the church, but we also have 3 off-site ministries, all of which are outdoors, even though Mamune wants you all just to come to his. But no, it's all good. It's all good. But there's maps there that can help you find that. So we'll just go along the line and just introduce yourself and say what you're going to be doing and where you're going to be doing it.
Oh, wow. I forgot to prepare the speech, but, Carmen? But I did prepare the presentation. It's a bit short. Casa de Clara, as Mary mentioned, it provides the housing for the family, especially women and children who are on the way back to the society. Now, the biggest challenge was the backyard, which had like as tall as like my height 3 years ago. visited there last week, and they're all nice and clean. So it's going to be an easy job, all right? Carmen, please. So what we do today is really just removing all these grasses and then shrubs and then just cleaning up the sheds and whatnot. So it's easy. Don't you worry. Anyone can do it. All right. And please join us at the patio. But Carmen, please. If you're not convinced, think that this is one of the very few projects which you're actually working under the sun. You get a lot of vitamin D, you live, and it's free, and you live longer from there. So it's the God's love, all right? So thank you.
My name is Misao, and my project is decorating caps, which we eventually are going to have for the unhoused. So I'm going to be in the Nichigo Library, which is room 16. So anyways, it'll be a fun project.
I'm Hattie.
Lynn.
We're working together. We're decorating some books for Grant Elementary.
And we're making some bookmarks to promote reading. This is an example of kind of, you can be as creative as you want or as simplistic as you want. We've got some resources to help you get inspired. We've got quotes for kids about the power of reading. We've got some just little things to help you get inspired. And we've got hundreds and hundreds of cute little stickers that you can decorate. So we're kind of teaming together. You can decorate a book, or you can create a bookmark, or both, whatever you'd like. Okay? And we are located right in the fellowship hall, right on the other side of this wall here. Okay? Thank you.
Hi, I'm Lauren,
And I'm Casper.
and we're also going to be doing something for the Grant Elementary students. So we are going to be making little origami like birds, and then we're going to be making little packets with origami paper that they can go ahead and make their own and share it with someone in their family life.
I'm Michiko. I'm leaving a towel drive for a donation to the Humane Society. We're gonna sort, fold, and pack the towels for delivery, and also create a thank you poster for the worker of the Humane Society. So we're gonna work in the chapel over there.
Hi, I'm Clarissa. We're going to be making posters for Grant Elementary students. We want to give them some words of encouragement for the end of the school year, and as they do state testing. So we're going to make a poster, one for each classroom, and we have little letters to glue on, and glitter glue, and some markers to decorate.
Where will it be?
In the chapel.
Hi, I'm Aton, and I will be here in this room, and I'll be doing an interview with my friend Tiffany Anderson, who is in the back, and we'll be talking about volunteerism. We'll be kind of going in a little bit deeper into what Mark mentioned earlier, the who, what, when, where, how, why, those questions around volunteerism and how we can be a larger part of that in our community.
Hi, I'm Warren. It was a little bit chilly coming to the church this morning, but the sun came out at 10 o'clock. I was watching it. So hallelujah. I'm going to be leading our efforts at Garden Table, Silicon Valley, also known as Taylor Street Farm. There, you don't have to bring anything. We have all the tools you may need, gloves, and even, I forgot my hat today. We have hats out there. So we will be doing some, for those of us that can get down close to the ground, weeding and some cleanup work around the farm, and those that would like to, that don't have as much bending or getting off the ground, some opportunities in the greenhouse. The farm is close by, I don't know if you know, on Taylor Street by 87. It can be a little bit tricky. It's off the Citibank parking lot, one of the Citibank's parking lots off Taylor Street, so you might, I'll be outside where there's maps that Mark has prepared to give directions for people that haven't been there. I'll be going last, so you could follow me or ride in my car. Also, some people that have been to the farm before, I'm looking at Derek Miyahara, Brian Hamilton, Vic Hamilton, Let's see. Yeah, you can also ask them for Tom Tang also. So, thank you.
Can you hear me? My name is Kelly, and if you are interested in learning more about our unhoused ministry, join me in the patio. We're going to be going to St. James Park and taking some bags of food like we do every Tuesday. We do ask that these volunteers are 18 years or older, and we have a statement of understanding for everyone to sign as well. So it's a wonderful ministry, and Mimuna will be outside as well, so live longer.
All right. So, and don't forget, we're having lunch, and the lunch is going to be served starting at 11:30, but all the way through 12:30. So if you arrive in that window, and even if you're a little bit late, I'm sure we'll probably save you something. But the whole thing is we're celebrating service. So let's give a hand to all of these project leaders. And let's stand for our closing hymn. Yes, we're getting to the closing hymn at 10:33. All right? Together we serve.
And please hear this blessing. Gracious God, we ask for your blessings upon the members of each project this Compassion Sunday. Thank you that each person is taking their time out of their busy lives to serve you by serving others. And thank you that you have spoken to their hearts and that they're willing to venture outside their homes and their comfort zones. Give them safe travels, energy, enthusiasm, and the ability to be flexible when plans change. May we all be true ambassadors for Christ through our actions today and always, as we serve with compassion those who are in need of your love and support. We pray all of this in the name of Christ. Amen. All right, go team.
Hello. We will be starting, we have a little bit of a transition. We'll be starting in approximately 10 minutes. Oh, that's on.
going to take the video too?
Thank you for joining us and thank you for waiting. I think we'll go ahead and get started. Again, my name is Eitan Abril. We're just going to have a casual conversation, talk a bit about volunteerism and different experiences in that space. So Tiffany is my friend from college. We've known each other since 2004, I believe. You want to go ahead and introduce yourself and share a bit about why you came here today?
Now okay? Okay, perfect. Hi everyone, I'm Tiffany Anderson. As Eitan mentioned, we went to university together, and Eitan invited me to come here and speak on volunteering today. I'm a big proponent of volunteerism and live that every day in my life, and over the years I've had a lot of experiences both here in the States but also abroad, and so I'm happy to share where I can.
Awesome, thank you. So I think maybe as a starting question can you share a few of your volunteering experiences that you would just you would like to mention to the church, and then we can kind of go from there.
Yeah, so in terms of volunteering, I've done everything from small kind of one-off volunteer projects to larger, like lengthy month-long projects. Or in year-long projects actually. So starting from the small, I've done a lot of food pantry volunteering, a lot of volunteering through my church as well, as you all do. Every year for the National Day of Service, which it happens to be on Martin Luther King Day every year, my son and I go out and volunteer in the community in the Bay Area, or if we're abroad, we do it wherever we are located, because it's actually an international thing as well. And so that could be like a beach cleanup, or it could be a sanctuary, estuary cleanup, or it could be working in a preserve. What else have we done? During the pandemic, there were more socially distanced options, so we did gathering of children's books and donating it to different schools. And then some of the larger projects that I've done include starting up a nonprofit. So it took me about 4 years, and I was on the founding board of a nonprofit that helps cancer patients and their caregivers by providing psychosocial support and services outside of medical treatment.
Wow,
Sure.
Oh, absolutely.
No problem.
Got it. Just making a couple adjustments for you people at home. First, wow, it's a lot of experiences in the space. Maybe a bit on, let's kind of start on the earlier side of being involved in volunteerism. What challenges have you worked with, and also maybe ways to be able to connect to spaces if people listening don't necessarily know how to take that first step?
Yeah, so I just like to do a Google search, honestly.
Amen.
Just start there.
Amen.
So I start with Google. There are a couple of organizations that aggregate volunteer opportunities. based on location, based on interest, based on your age. Two that I like to go to are CVNL, which is a Center for Volunteerism and Nonprofit Leadership. I also like to go to the AmeriCorps. AmeriCorps' website is very comprehensive in providing location and specialty of the topics you want to be volunteering in, and also by age groups and breakdown on ability, what you're physically able to do versus not.
Amen. I love hearing about these things. I think I've been to those sites once or twice, so not very experienced, so great resources there. I also, for those coming into Wesley, definitely recommend the Wesley Compassion team. As this is Compassion Sunday, any of the members of that group would be glad to do any legwork or help fill any gaps that you may have in that space as well. That's part of the reason for the event today.
Actually, that also reminds me, just looking at your local organizations that interest you. So I've also volunteered with the YWCA and the YMCA, just anything in your community, and there's a lot of opportunities for volunteering.
Yeah, and I think, to me, I think the first question is, what is it that you're passionate about? And then there are people who are passionate about that thing. And I think there's always there's something beautiful about working together towards larger goals than what us as individuals can do alone. And I mean, I could be passionate about gardening. I could be passionate about social justice. I could be passionate about immigration issues. I can be passionate about arts and crafts. I think in any of those, having that passion, be able to be in service to others, is a very special thing and kind of regenerative for our spirits, our soul. And ultimately, also, we're called to. Jesus talks about that calling of service to others, and in a number of different ways that can be present. And I think part of that is that presence, that kind of singular word of being able to be able to share again. It's not, at that point, it's not even like a burden to do, but it's actually I enjoy this, I'm sharing this part of who I am. And I think that resonates with those that we serve, those that we touch as we're doing these activities. Again, beach cleanup, seeing our world in a better condition. Any of those, I think, are really just great opportunities to give back for kind of all that we've been given.
Yeah, and I just want to add, for those of you who do have young children, don't see that as a barrier to volunteering as a family. With my son, from I think age 2 and onward, he's always volunteered with me. And so you do have to search a little bit more to have basically children under 12 to volunteer, because there are more limited options, but there are still opportunities. And you can make it fun. So when it comes to a cleanup, you can, for example, count how many items your child is picking up versus how many you're picking up. Just make it a game. So things like that. Or if you're out in nature like that, you can count how many bugs you found. For example, in January for Martin Luther King Day this past year, we uncovered a number of ladybugs, literally hundreds of ladybugs, when we were doing a cleanup of a landfill in Oakland. And it was amazing to see. And then we also found a millipede, and we found another animal, another little insect. I can't remember what it was, but that was really fun for my son and also for the other kids that were there volunteering with their families.
Awesome. Yeah, I think particularly whenever it's like a new dynamic, it's something that's unknown, we can always feel like, for example, with the young children, I think hearing that really can help resonate with a lot of people. It's like, I don't know what that looks like. I don't know how I could do it. So thank you for sharing that. Let me think. I'm just kind of thinking, where would I like to go from that? I think one aspect, and I know you touched on it a bit earlier, but the ways of connecting, it can also be just any of the groups that you're a member of. Wesley has their connections. You could be social groups. It can be your golf club. Like the many organizations, particularly I think here, really do have like that kind of joint purpose of not only this is the why I do kind of my fun activity, but I want to, we're together. Let's do things together that can be helpful to others. So I think there's a lot of ways that can do that. And then I love the idea of like all of us have access to Google. We can always, if we don't already have those connections, there are ways to kind of have that starting place that you can get started.
Definitely agree. Thank you.
Trying to think if there's other topics I would like to talk about here. So I think we talked quite a bit on the kind of new to volunteerism. What if you have a big idea? I have the big idea, and I want to make it a reality. Because that feels like it's a different space than I want to volunteer for a beach cleanup. I want to start a beach cleanup. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, these are kind of different spaces, and I know you have some experience in that space, so you can share that side of it.
Yeah, so I can talk about one of my initial big volunteering organizations that I started, because that one was a very lengthy one. And when I first approached it, I didn't know anything in terms of how to start something. I did have a big idea, but I didn't know how to approach it. And so I think I just started asking around. Having curiosity is, I think, the key. So I had this interest, I had this passion. I didn't know how to help the population that I wanted to help, but I just started asking around to other organizations that were helping that population and asking, do you provide this service? Or if you do, great, where is it, where can I help? But in fact, in my case, when I asked around the cancer patient population, the organizations that were helping to serve cancer patients, I learned that there was a hole in a service, and the hole was that outside of medical treatment, the cancer patients and their caregivers were not being attended to. And this was many years ago, so that's not true today. But back then, when I was looking at it, nearly a couple decades ago now, there was a hole that needed to be filled. And I started asking around locally, and I found out that there was nothing locally that was going on to help the cancer patients and caregivers in Silicon Valley. And then I called the national component of this organization. It's actually the international headquarters was in DC. So I called them, just cold called, and it was scary. I'm not going to pretend it wasn't, but they were just so kind and generous. And most organizations like to field calls from volunteers who want to get involved. And so I asked them, you know, is there this service for cancer patients and caregivers in the Bay Area? And they said, there might be one in the far East Bay, but there's nothing in Silicon Valley, in the peninsula. And I said, well, this is pre-pandemic, so there's a large population in Silicon Valley that, were cancer patients or had caregivers or a need for these services. And so they said, well, there isn't one there, but if you want to start one, you're more than welcome to. And I said, okay, I'll do it. And so I thought about how to do that, and I asked them for guidance because, of course, I didn't know how to do that. And so they connected me with other interested people that had reached out to them and wanted to start up a nonprofit as well to help these cancer patients and their caregivers. And I connected with them, and mind you, this was a good nearly 2 decades ago, so I was quite young, and the people they connected me with were in their 50s. And they just embraced me because thankfully everyone just wanted to do the same work. They wanted to help this population and help the cancer patients and their caregivers. And so it didn't matter what our age was. It didn't matter what our life experiences had been. It mattered what we were passionate about and that we wanted to devote our time, energy, and resources, if we had it, to this cause. And so for the next 4 years, we worked on founding this board of directors to help initiate this nonprofit. It's a local chapter of an international nonprofit that helps cancer patients and their caregivers by providing psychosocial support and services outside of medical treatment. And it took lots of networking, figuring out where to find funding. Funding's a big thing in the nonprofit world. So writing grants, learning how to write grants, and then writing grants. Learning where the big donors are in Silicon Valley and contacting them, getting an audience with them and pitching what we were doing and why it was important. We did gala events, fundraiser events. We did a half marathon even. I got 11 of my friends across the nation to participate in their very first half marathon with me. It was, again, my first half marathon too. But it was all to raise money and to get support for this nonprofit to open doors. We found a physical location. We worked with real estate agents to find a physical location to provide these services to the patients and their caregivers. We employed medical professionals like acupuncturists, certified massage therapists, nutritionists, personal trainers, meditation experts. We employed a lot of different kind of holistic services to provide different programs throughout the week to these patients. And then we finally did open our doors in May of 2010, and that was really exciting. Yeah, Eitan was there. He remembers. He was Eitan was a great supporter of that initiative and that nonprofit founding. So thank you.
Thank you. I think for a lot of people that I talk with here at the church, they may have an idea and not necessarily know that, like, how to navigate that space. I think one of the things that I heard there in particular is finding those people who can be kind of like a lighthouse for you. Like, they kind of shine light on this kind of maze that you may be walking through. And that can be small scale, it can be large scale, but I think having those connection points is really important to having success. I think success in volunteerism is often not individual. It's not, that's not how this is really done. It really is about those partnerships, about making those connections. And definitely see the role of something like Compassion here is to help facilitate that. Does the Compassion team themselves have all those answers? No, but we work with a lot of different people across the Silicon Valley space. And through that, we make connections. Those people have connections. And it's weird how once you kind of pull that string, it kind of ripples around and can really start bringing in new things and bringing ideas to reality. It's funny, I remember Compassion, having those conversations. It was just me and Pastor David here at church, and Pastor Hajime, having like, we see a problem. At the time, I'll just share a little bit about it. At the time, our church here at Wesley had great mission projects. We went out to the world to do great work. But Wesley did not have a presence in its own community. And that kind of troubled us. It's like, I remember Pastor David's words were, if we're going to be here in this community, like, we should be able to show something good for our presence. And I think in that kind of statement, we worked together. We've got new people involved to make that presence. And I think today, when you ask the Japantown community, Wesley is a part of that community. It is a part of making that community a better place. People could know to come to Wesley. If you don't know where to go, you're kind of stuck. We have those resources now. We have that place. And I think Compassion Sunday really is kind of a testament to that. And also a way to get people, kind of spark those new ideas. I definitely don't see Compassion Sunday as a end goal. It's a facilitating goal. Its goal is to bring in, like, oh, I didn't know that could be part of worship. That can be part of transforming my community, the thing I enjoy. And I think also the reminder of, hey, that idea I've been thinking about to make the world better, other people around that I can have those conversations with that can really bring that idea that kind of I may talk about at home, to a reality that can help people in their present situations. So thank you for sharing. I think we're probably pretty good on time. I'm gonna look to the back corner. How we're doing on? Okay.
Does anyone have any questions, I guess, from
Hey,
online? Or, yeah.
I don't. Do you have access to see YouTube's questions? If there were any questions in there. Okay. Yeah, please go ahead. I'm going to pass you the mic just so people can hear your question.
Well, my question is, I was very interested to hear what you were saying about fundraising and getting people of the larger Silicon Valley community to support your project.
Right.
And I just wondered if, like here we are a religious entity, if you would have any suggestions for us, if there's something that you feel would be applicable to our situation.
For the church?
For our compassion ministries.
Oh.
So we are part of the church, but we are what's called a designated fund. Like people have to specifically donate to our project. So sometimes I wonder, gee, are we maybe not reaching a larger donor base?
Right. That's a good question. Are you a 501c3 separately
So
from the church?
I can address. The group itself is not. So it falls under the umbrella of the United Methodist Church. So it does have, obviously, at present, and we've discussed it a little bit, of the, like, do we have a a local church, actually, Grace did that split. So Grace has their church, and then they have Grace Solutions, if I remember correctly, for their 50, yes. And there's also some challenges in that kind of distinctions. If one side becomes more funded than the other, once you make the split, it becomes really hard for the two to help each other. So but I think even in our, I think there's two kind of pieces there. The one is like, is it best to split, but also the question of, like, in either regard, are there donating opportunities that kind of we may be less familiar with, I think is what Masao is kind of getting at there. I don't know if you wanted to, I can.
So as it stands right now, you're part of the umbrella,
yes.
Correct?
Yeah.
So in that case, then you have the same issues that other churches have in basically getting church donations, but also in your case, designated church donations. Is there a percentage of the general donations that goes to Compassion Ministries? No.
No.
So it has to be designated. So that might be a structure that you might want to look at, because you're kind of in a hard place at that point, unless people know about the designation opportunity, then you wouldn't be receiving funds very easily, right? And I think if people know about it, they want to donate, right? And so that happens, that's what I learned, I guess, when I was learning how to ask for donations and learning how to fundraise. A lot of times people, especially in America, are generous and want to give. They just need to be told of the opportunity to give, right? So if they're told of the opportunity, if there's some kind of advertisement, to share that Compassion Ministries is somewhere where they can donate and they can designate their donation, and that they have to designate their donation in order for the funds to get to you guys. I think that's important, that education piece, because a lot of times churchgoers would just assume that the church is going to split it evenly, or however the church, whatever percentage a church has. And a lot of other churches do that. They do a percentage, right? And so that kind of education piece of your donor base is important to tell them, okay, we don't actually receive any general funds, and we need to have the designated donation in order to be able to serve this community, this local community. And if that's the donor's passion to serve the local community, then they would want to know that. They would want to be educated that way.
Yeah.
Something else I would suggest is, doing maybe like a monthly education in the meantime, just to remind people that this is the way it is. But also, as you're out in the field doing your projects, just educating people who walk by or who participate, your volunteers who participate. Here's how you can help support us. Here's our need right now. So people are always willing to give. They just need to know what the needs are.
Yeah, I think the combination of both the needs and the how, because I definitely have known numerous times being out in the community, it was like, how can I help? Or I can do this. How does that connect to what you're doing? And I think that's can be sometimes, and frankly, sometimes the gift that is being given we're not ready to receive. We may not want to receive, that could be different, but often it's just like we're not ready to, but I think it's important to field those questions, and as a group, talking more to I see, right, compassion chairs are in the room, talking amongst each other about, maybe we can't field in that today, but we can talk about it, and maybe the next time we get that, we have that answered, and we can have that kind of unified, this is how we would, maybe somebody wants to give us stock, and we may not be ready to do that, but that can be.
I can actually talk to that. So I lived in Japan for 7 years, and I was very involved. I was actually on staff at our church, which was a large international English-speaking church in Tokyo. And we had a large expat population that would come and go. And when people left, the alumni still wanted to donate to the church, but they were not located physically in Japan anymore. And so we actually do have a lot of stocks donated to that church through a U.S. fund. So someone thought about opening up a U.S. fund, and that fund is one half, and the other fund is a Japanese fund. So people could donate in U.S. dollars, or they could donate in Japanese yen, or they could donate stocks, or they could donate bonds, things like that. And so having that option for those who wanted to give in that way, it's possible for churches to do. I saw that at my church, and I think also. Yeah, I've seen that here in the local Bay Area as well for other churches.
That's actually a really great idea, because we had a Nichigo, our Japanese language ministry, and we have people that have gone back to Japan.
Right.
And if we could set up funds, they want to donate, but it's so hard for them to donate in US dollars.
Yeah.
So that is a great point. Thank you.
Yeah. You guys can do the opposite of what we did.
Yeah.
There's a question from the audience, from a little one.
Here you go, sir.
I want to show my mom something.
Okay. So no microphone. What is it? Awesome.
Actually, I think this is showcasing some of the other activities that were available while we were talking. Gabriel made some bookmarks that will be given to Grant Elementary School students. I've been told by our live stream coordinators that we are running kind of long on time, so I think we're going to wrap up the formal session. If anybody wants to stick around and have conversation, we can definitely do that. Thank you guys. Have a great rest of your day, and I'm going to turn off the mic. Take care.
Thank you.